The days of sitting around and waiting for somebody to message you, to contact you, should be well and truly over, especially after this video.
Ladies, we all know I can never get my words out, but this time I actually literally missed out two important words. So in the next clip, you'll hear me speaking about reaching out to someone, but what I actually forgot to put at the end of that is reaching out to me. So now I've cleared that up, it will make a lot more sense, and yeah, you'll be able to catch up. So I'll let you get back to the video.
What it also tells me, okay, the fact that you are reaching out and you are doing that is telling me that you don't have any other options. And if you don't have any other options, then that's another key reason to keep on improving yourself, upping your look, upping your femininity, working on that truly, and really just trying to be the best version of yourself. Okay, operative word, self, okay? Because we're not comparing ourselves to other people, we're not trying to be somebody else, we're trying to build upon what we have, who we are. Okay, that's the point. So make sure that you're becoming the best version of yourself, putting your best foot forward, and that effort and time that you're putting into yourself will be rewarded to you, because then you'll be able to meet more people and more men will be interested, and you won't have to have the situation and the cycle of meeting someone, then them basically ghosting, and then basically turning into, you know, Ghostiana or Ghostiano to make it more masculine, honey, Ghostiano. So we don't sit around waiting for Ghostiano. What we do is, I love the way that I change that every single time, but what we do is we keep moving on, okay? We keep on building upon ourselves and doing that kind of work. Ladies, you have to start looking at actions instead of what you want. What you want doesn't matter right now. Let me be clear, because what you want always matters, and that's why we're always working towards it. But let me be very clear. So if you want somebody to message you, or you want somebody to contact you and they don't want to, then what you want isn't relevant. Okay, it's redundant. But what you can want is to meet a new person who wants to do those things for you. So it's about using the brain cells, it's about using all of that, and using the femininity, getting out there, being seen. And even if you're online as well, you know, do that simultaneously. That's also a good way to go. Why not? And then you'll be able to meet somebody new who won't have you sitting around waiting for you to message them. And this is another reason why you shouldn't put all of your eggs in one person's basket. Lots of women choose to do this, and you just slow yourselves down. You waste your own time sometimes, because the men aren't doing that. They're not putting, as soon as he meets a woman, he's not putting every single one of his eggs in your basket. He's not doing that. He's scattering his eggs around so that he will have optimal eggs to come back to later on. You see, he doesn't put all of his eggs in one basket. He's not doing that, and you should not be doing that either. And one thing you have to also realize is that men will be telling you that they're not seeing anybody else, but what that can also mean is, I just want you around and I don't want you to kind of go anywhere, so that I can continue to have my eggs scattered around. So you have to bear that in mind, because if you're too nice, then you will continue to be in that cycle of sitting at home, waiting around for someone to message you, and they're out on a date with somebody new. Sucks, doesn't it? So that's why you've got to make sure you're working on yourselves continuously, that kind of situation is not getting you down in the dance. Let's be honest, it's happened to everybody. Ghostiano he's omniscient at this point, okay? So just understand that as well. If there is a cycle and you feel like this happens with every single man that I meet, come into contact with, go on a date or 2 or 3 with, and then he's out the door, then you've got to start looking at the men who you're choosing to date, Are they better looking than you? I'm gonna let that one sink in. Are they better looking than you? Is he the kind of man who just wants to do anything to impress you? I bet the answer to those questions are going to be yes and no. So you've got to start changing the way that you're doing things, and also just bear in mind that some men are just dating to experience different women. We know what I'm talking about. I've done a whole video on all of that stuff and we're not delving into that right now, but most of the time you're just not being strategic and you're not being logical when you're dating. So make sure that you are being strategic and being logical for optimal, beneficial dating, because otherwise you're dating for lack instead of benefit, and that is silly, you know, to do that intentionally. So let's start thinking about, who am I choosing to say yes to going on a date with? Does he look like somebody who would just, you know, go above and beyond for me? Does he look like that kind of person? Would he pluck out every single arm hair just to take me out? Would he do that? You've got to think about those things. Would he actually do that? If the answer is no, then probably it could be a potential situation at some point when you could end up being on the receiving end of being ghosted. So you've got to make sure that you're keeping your wits about you, keeping your eggs scattered as well, the same way that men are doing, and not just in one basket, because then you will end up sitting at home. Why hasn't he messaged me? Oh my gosh, okay, let me DM Ziva. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And it's just like, no, just do your makeup, do your hair, feel good about yourself. Remember that you are that girl, whether he realized it or not. Maybe he did realize it and he just couldn't afford it, or who knows. But he is not in the picture anymore, so move on. And that's the point that I'm kind of trying to get across to you. Maybe he wants to come back later on. That's totally up to you if you want to accept it, and what he's choosing to bring to you at that point, it better be good. You know, it better be good. And this is where your standards come into things. But for you to have super high standards when you're dating, you have to have super high standards of yourself as well. So work on yourself externally, internally, and mentally, with your femininity, all of those things, and really enjoy who you are and enjoy yourself and love the person who you actually are. That's a key you know, part of happiness and contentment that we all deserve to kind of experience. I do understand you just want to know, what would I do in that situation, or how do I feel about what's going on in your lives? And I do have a messaging service in my Patreon, so if you wanted to have that kind of messaging where we can just message whenever about whatever basically, then definitely sign up to my Patreon and we can do that. Even if you do have these questions, then, you know, I will speak to you about them, or we could do a consultation and you could take things that way. But I would be kind of saying the same thing. If you're sitting at home waiting for somebody to message you, something is wrong, and you have got to start working on yourself, starting from the bottom and working your way back up again, and really putting time and effort into yourself and getting back out there, dating, etc., and stop putting all of your eggs in one person's basket. And even if you are dating different people and one of them falls off, let him fall off. He's entitled to that. You have to remember that. He's entitled to falling off, and good riddance. Now, let's see what else is going on. That should be your mentality, and that is where I hope that it goes after this video. On that note, I'm going to love you and leave you here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.